on a little scouting mission Friday evening, coming up on the Florida Avenue Bridge.
Bunch of empty warehouses.
Yeah, this is a very industrial area, not too far from our neighborhood. What do you think they're building over here, Jim?
No idea. Probably pumping station related.
We're about to cross the intercoastal harbor, which links up with the industrial canal over in this direction where you normally see me fishing. On the other side of here, we're going to make a left and try to hook up with Harbor Drive.
Never been there.
Yeah, we've never been over here. Bayou Bienvenue is right over here. When we get over here on Harbor Drive, we should have Bayou Bienvenue on our right and the intercoastal waterway on our left. Here's the harbor, and that's the industrial canal down there. It's all the same thing, it just changes names. Alright, now we're over the bridge, and this is where we're supposed to make our left, right?
Sometimes these areas are secured areas, you're not allowed to drive into them.
Okay, so this should be it. Yeah, we're supposed to make this right, I believe.
That's a parking lot or something.
Yeah. Like I said, this is a little scouting mission. If I like this area, it's about, what'd you say, a 5 mile? Initially 5 miles or less, but I think we could go as far as we wanted to. Now, I believe from early aerial views of this place I saw, right on the other side of this wall is where Bayou Bienvenue ends. And this is the back lot of Southern Scrap, I believe. Don't you think so, Jim?
I would say.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of obvious. Look at the heaps of, wow, look at that thing.
You don't really see stuff like that in New Orleans.
Over there on Almonaster Avenue, there's something like this, but this is a much larger. Taking a Friday Avenue drive through the Sportsman's Paradise. This is what paradise looks like these days. Paradoxal paradise. There's a cabin. There's a little car.
Is this?
Now my question is, are we on a public road or a private road? I haven't seen any indication to where we're at.
From the map, looks like that. No, that's just dirt. Looks like it froze.
Yeah, it's mud. It's hard to believe that there's a place to fish anywhere around here, eh?
I don't necessarily think you could necessarily come back here with a bicycle. I mean, you could.
I didn't see any other roads that went to the right. Did you?
No.
Look, we got a footbridge going over the ditch here.
Because the canal's to our left.
Yeah.
It's like a few hundred feet that way.
I got some standing water over here beyond this ditch. I don't think we're on a public road anymore. I think we're back here, back still on Southern Scraps property.
We probably have to find a place to maybe turn around. Because the canal, yes, is right over there.
And you can't fish over in that canal. That's part of a sanctuary. Hard to believe they call that area a sanctuary. Look what's right over on the side of it. Look at that school bus, Jim.
Yeah, I think this is the end of the road. Turn around.
Now Bayou Bienvenue is over here, not too far. I don't like this area. I don't want to come over here.
This is the end of the road.
Let's do a UE, and then we're going to get on the other side of Bayou Bienvenue, and we'll drive down Florida Avenue to Caffin. There's Mr. Jim. This is the Florida Avenue Bridge. I like this. All right.
Say for swamp fish.
I think this is what I'll do. Come out this way. Take the Florida Avenue to Caffin.
So we should ask this gentleman what kind of fish are you doing?
What are you getting today?
Exercise, fresh air.
Yeah, that's what we're getting.
I haven't had a bite. Only been out about a half hour.
I thought I'd come scout this out. I've been wanting to come check out and fish here, but first time to be here.
Water's a bit low today, but it's quite clear. Clearer than normal. And for some reason, my bait won't stay on my hook.
Using market bait?
Yeah. Just picked it up.
I left that at home. I just brought soft plastics today.
Mm-hmm. You do any good with soft plastics out here?
I've never fished Bayou Bienvenue, but in other places around here I've done all right with them. Like Irish Bayou is probably one of the places I've done real well with soft plastics.
Okay, and that's without tipping it with shrimp, just the plastic itself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Use I think I'm gonna give it like a 10-15 minute try today over here. I'm gonna use like a 1/2 ounce jig head with I've got a cocoa and a sparkle beetle, just to get my line wet, you know.
Good as any. Can't hurt. I'll be happy right now if I can just keep my shrimp on the hook for a cast.
Yeah, you're right.
Otherwise, I may end up doing like you. Throwing a soft plastic. Awesome. You know, like go cut grass or something you can do for somebody on the weekend, but nothing regular, nothing with any regularity.
Or when I was, I don't know, 13 or 14, my brother-in-law now, but he was dating my sister then. He had like a landscaping company, so sometimes he needed extra people, and most of the guys were like, 18 to 21, something like that.
Right.
When I was like 13 or 14, he'd be like, come on, we're gonna I need to.
Well, he's catching a fish.
For grass cutting, something other than cutting grass in August, which is August in Pennsylvania. It's not as bad as here, but there's a lot of humidity and heat and whatever. And cutting grass for 15 hours
There he is.
A day was a little trying.
That's a long time to be pushing a lawnmower.
It was sort of like 6 in the morning till whenever it got dark.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, sometimes you have to be young.
Oh yeah, not riding a power mower.
Mm-hmm. No, they didn't have them then.
Like,
They didn't have them then. I remember my dad had.
They had them for big jobs. Oh, sometimes we would hand cut, with gas mower, but it'd be like, oh, he has an industrial client, and there's like a big lawn in front of a nice little corporate building. And we pull up, I'm like, you're kidding. It's like, you don't have your big mower? He's like, oh, something's wrong with it. It's got to be done.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it's like acres.
I'm trying
a really nice grass. Things. It was really thick, plush
grass. When you push it, it had these blades in it.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember what we called that.
I have one of those. Actually, it's my wife's, but I have one of those right now.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Yeah. You can buy them at Sears.
Really?
Yeah. They're about $100.
I didn't think they still made them.
Yeah.
They're more popular now than they were a few years back.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
People wanting to go green, the cost of fuel too.
Conservation kind of thing.
Okay.
I think they have them at Harry's Ace Hardware.
Yeah, well, all the grass I cut in my life, they could keep them at Harry's Ace Hardware. I want some power now. I want some power and self-propulsion. I want as much help as I can get cutting grass now.
Goats. If they could come up with a dog that would eat grass. Cats eat grass, but I don't think any of us want that many cats.
No.
They all get sick when they eat
that
grass.
many dogs, to tell you the truth. And back here growing up, there's dogs everywhere.
Yeah.
Everybody had at least one dog. And every neighborhood had its packs of dogs or loose dogs running around. There was just dogs everywhere.
Well, this water is very quiet today, isn't it?
It is. And it's not much quieter than normal to me.
Really?
It's clearer. It's a lot clearer today.
This is the clearest water I've seen in weeks. Where I fish, it's like darker than my coffee sometimes.
Where's your primary fishing area?
Where the Mississippi and Industrial Canal meet, and Lakeshore Drive and Bayou St. John, City Park.
Yeah.
Bayou St. John's kind of stained. The lake is dirty right now. The river's always dirty.
Yeah.
And City Park is probably the clearest out of all that.
I haven't fished City Park in so long.
They're supposed to have some really good-sized black crappie there, sac-a-lait. And I've been looking for them. I haven't found them yet. It's like waiting for Godot. That's one of my favorite things to catch, sac-a-lait. Favorite thing to eat.
I love sac-a-lait. When I was in Baton Rouge, I had a nice little sac-a-lait hole. Somewhere that I could go and know I was going to catch a few sac-a-lait. Loved it. Matter of fact, to this day, I would prefer sac-a-lait to speckled trout. I just don't fish it.
I wonder if there's sac-a-lait out in this bayou. They don't tend to be where it's real salty. You think the saline count's high here?
It's too brackish, I think.
Yeah, too brackish.
And we found, when I think of catching sac-a-lait, I think of deep canals.
Yeah, especially this time of year.
This water is not deep at all.
Nah. I was throwing them soft plastics in. Every cast, I was pulling up grass.
Right.
I didn't bring any shrimp today. I just wanted to get the line wet and really scout, see if I could come out here on my bike, see what to expect.
No. There's good fishing on the other side over there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's what I was telling him.
There's good fishing. There's a canal there that I think it's actually part of Bayou Bienvenue itself.
Yeah, it's what it says on the map.
On the other side?
From aerial photos, you could tell it's deeper than this.
It's deeper. It's deep. There's some guys came out in a kayak and went back there. But I'm told that you can launch in Bayou Bienvenue and come all the way back there. But the only problem with that,
I heard somebody say that once too.
The only problem with that, it seemed to me you'd have to have a skiff, or you're taking a big risk because you got to come under the bridge. Over Parish Road Bridge, you got to come under that bridge, and if the tide comes up on you while you on this side,
you're stuck.
You got to wait for that tide to go down.
And that's not like a quick thing.
No.
I'd like to find a good place right now where it's not a real long ride on the bike where I could get sheep's head. I know they're not the prize, but I like the way they look.
Sheephead is good eating.
Yeah.
People don't like to fool with sheephead because they think they're hard to clean. They get stuck on the
Yeah, you hear these nightmare stories of people cleaning them with sawzalls or something, filleting them with a reciprocating sawzall.
Oh, no, but I do something. I use a roofing knife.
Yeah.
And I fillet them with a roofing knife and come out with a nice clean piece of meat. And that's good eating. Sheephead, really good eating. It's just people don't like getting stuck. You know, you got a bunch of them in an ice chest, and you stick your hand down there to get one, and invariably you're going to get pricked
bit
by something, you know?
Well, they got them teeth on them, right? Little teeth.
But that's, you know, they're dead. It's the fins that scare everybody.
Yeah.
Get their hands pricked on. Them fins are hard.
I like their coloring.
Well, they are. Now that you think about it, they are a nice looking fish in terms of color.
Yeah.
By the same token, I like the color drum.
Yeah, the young ones?
And that's what this is. When you catch fish here.
Are you talking red or black?
Black.
Black drum, little ones. That's what I thought you meant.
Black drum. And that's when you catch. That's what you catch here. I don't think anybody. I haven't heard of anybody catching speckled trout in here.
Some guy was telling me about catching specks in here, but I believe he was referring to the canal right over there. That one we were looking for earlier.
He had to be.
There's a guy that works up at Seabrook Marina over there on Francis. Called him on the phone. I wanted to know how much their shrimp were. 35 cents a piece for live shrimp.
Keep them.
Yeah, that's what I went and got market bait that day. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to get live shrimp. You just put them in the ice box or freezer and keep them, you know.
Right. Well, you know.
And you can eat them too. I don't use a whole shrimp because sometimes I'm stuck getting a big one, so I cut it in 2 or 3.
I do that with market bait.
Yeah.
I'll do that when I got big market bait. But I wanted to tell you about the specks. A friend of mine, brother-in-law, used to work at Southern Scrap.
Right which is over there. Where those lights are.
Back there, where they load up on speckled trout, which is not very far from here. But I don't think they just don't come into here.
They're catching them out of the intercoastal.
Right.
I heard you couldn't fish over there. Someone said that was a sanctuary.
Well, the sanctuary is from the Seabrook Bridge.
Right.
All the way to the intercoastal. That's the sanctuary. And people get in there, mostly on bicycles though, where the harbor police can't see them. If you got a car, they'll see the car.
Yeah.
But you got to get close to see the bicycle because of the terrain. So folks will sneak in on bicycles. And if you fish on the east bank, you know where Swagman is? Well, it's closed now.
No, I don't think so.
If you go back, go across the bridge, going towards Chef Highway.
Right.
People call it Poland. It's really Alva. There's a bridge that goes over the tracks. That bridge, as you're going towards Chef, you'll pass another bridge, a drawbridge that's closed. That's on the Intercoastal Canal. They'll ride their bicycles on the east bank of that. And if the police see them from the west bank, which is the only place you can see them with a car,
right,
they could go around and catch you. But the way the land is, like I was telling you about going to Jordan Avenue, the way the land in the streets are, the police, you have to, in a car, you got to go all the way around stuff. On a bicycle, you just cut across.
Yep.
So they'll fish back there and almost impunity.
Was that a train bridge or
Train bridge, right?
train bridge?
Just a train bridge.
Ooh, he crashed hard. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did. That's it right there.
Yep.
I'll tell you something else. I've gotten too old and fat to do this.
It's going. I'm gonna cast a few more, and we'll wrap this up. You gotten too old to do this?
Too old and fat to do what I'm about to tell you. But on the riverside of the Claiborne Bridge,
Right.
you got the seawall levee. On the riverside, they climb over that wall, and I'm told they catch big specks.
That's just the other side of where I go, right?
The other side of where you go. That's correct. That's
It's
correct.
a little further down.
Yeah.
I thought about that over the
It's between those two, the St. Clair Bridge and the Claiborne Bridge. I'm told they do very good fishing back there. And you were talking about sheephead?
Right.
There are times they catch sheephead in schools back there.
I just saw something interesting. I saw the white side of a small fish right as this passed it. Like the fish came up.
Uh-huh.
It's like a little. Yeah, it's probably not much longer than that. It came up to the surface and saw it.
I wonder what that could be. My first thought was you may have seen the underside of a garfish.
Yeah, they're probably in here, aren't they?
Oh, there are garfish in there. I haven't seen one in a while, but there are garfish in there. I've caught garfish in here.
They're not shy.
Pardon me?
Gar are not shy.
Oh, no.
They'll come up and inspect anything, huh?
There was a big gar, my friend was telling me, that was hanging in this area for a while.
Yeah.
I saw that seagull before y'all came. I saw the seagull dive, head under, and when he came up, he was chewing on something. I don't know what it was, because I've never seen any small fish in here. Made me wonder if he was like panfish. Made me wonder if he had a little drum or something, but my first guess is they don't have perch in here. That's what I'm thinking, he got something small, like a perch.
Well, it'd be nice to get a little puppy drum out of here.
They really
said
would.
they're in here, huh?
They really would. You know, and quite frankly, most of the drum, this little area I'm fishing to the left of those line of stumps, these first line of stumps, that's where most of the drum I've seen come from. I've caught drum in this little area just to the left of those stumps. That's the side my friend likes to fish. But I've seen more drum come from this right side.
That's the kind you really want to eat.
Oh,
They're
tender,
small.
sweet meat. Sweet
About
meat.
what, 16 inches?
They average between 14, 16 inches.
But legally, you can't keep them under 16, I believe, right?
You're not supposed to. The only thing about that, when I'm boat fishing, I don't fool with undersized fish. But over here, they don't bother you. The police don't bother. I've seen the police who were catching drum come right here, look at us, watch what we're doing, look in the little bucket, and I know there were fish in there that were under 16 inches. He didn't bother. He was just killing time. But for some reason, they don't bother you over here.
That's why I like going and trying to get sheep's head, because there's no limit on the size or the bag.
None.
Get as many you want. Sometimes that's all you got. The last time I caught one was in Hopedale.
Hopedale.
Yep.
What, we fishing on the highway? Off the highway?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just right in a bar ditch or something.
Yeah.
You know. It was windy too.
When I was running my boat, I used to see people on the highway, and sometimes I think they catch more fish than some of the people in boats.
Yeah.
Same in Delacroix.
I think those pelicans are getting more fish than we are.
I'm sure they are.
Yeah, because we haven't got any.
I'm sure they are. And you know it for sure when you see him come up and he's chewing on something. I wish I knew what he was catching them. I was looking forward to taking something home, a couple of drums, and cleaning them and eating fresh fish tonight. Looking forward to it.
It hasn't been a real good year for fishing.
No.
Somewhere it has been, but not around here.
No. I come here to fish sometimes because it's just not a lot. It's disheartening how good the fishing used to be. Places you could bank fish.
Yeah.
And it's just so sad now. I tell you, if there's a place you can go, I don't go as often. You know where Chef Mentor Bridge is?
Yeah.
Just before you go over the bridge, there's a launch there now. There's a canal with a little launch, a little back down launch on the right hand side. Turn off the main highway. It's a dirt road, and that dirt road will lead to Chef Mentor Pass. The road's real bad, so you got to get out and walk half a block or so. But it's good fishing there. It's a bluff. The bottom's been eaten out, so you're sitting a little high. But you can fish. You can actually fish the Chef Mentor Pass, and there's a canal there coming off the fort that meets the pass itself. The mouth of that. We knocked reds in the ass right there. But I stopped going because people started finding out about it, and it went from being a fairly pristine area. The last time I went, there were cans and bottles and trash, and it looked like there had just been a Mardi Gras parade there.
I see a lot of that around places I go to.
And people don't have to do that. It just felt like I was in a garbage dump fishing.
Yeah.
And I just never went back.
In spring, I like to go after eel and big cats when the river's up. I'll be right on in the river. And a lot of people go to the spot that I go, and when they catch things they don't want, they just throw it on the bank. So there'll be like, this year, kept finding like, what do you call those? They're like rays.
Stingrays?
Yeah, like a stingray, but not a stingray, but
not flounder.
Not a flounder. One of those a stingray without the stinger. You know, they're in the river. It's like a manta ray of some kind.
Yeah, you're talking about what we call a stingray. They got a stinger.
I'm just not talking about like the one that killed the crocodile hunter. Smaller ones.
Small ones, right.
Yeah, small. I don't know what their name is.
We call that stingray.
Yeah, it's a small stingray, basically.
But he can still ruin your day.
Yeah. So they're just throwing those things, throwing them right up on the bank and letting them die.
I don't fool with them.
You go there and and you see this mound in the grass covered in flies. You kick it, it's got about 1,000 flies on it, and it's a little stingray.
You eat them?
I've never eaten a stingray, I don't think. Maybe when I was younger in Galveston. I may have. I can't remember if I did or not. I remember someone catching one. I don't know if I actually ate it. I was really young.
You mentioned eels. There are eels in here. If you talk about like the snake-looking kind of eel.
Yeah, fish eel.
They're in here.
I like those.
As a matter of fact, the last thing I saw, last time I was here last week, right before we left, my friend caught an eel. And a lot of people here are afraid of him. He won't do you anything.
No, they're not electric eels.
No, but it feels so slimy. It'll wrap all around your hand, and you feel slimy. It feel like a snake.
They got kind of a razor's edge to their mouth.
They do that.
Like a bite.
They do that.
Maybe it hurt a little bit.
They do that. But
I like to handle them with gloves because that slime is so thick. It gets all over your hands. It's hard to get off.
Right.
The females are usually what I end up bringing home. I do bring home the males in spring. They're called American eels, American Atlantic eels. commercially fished on the East Coast, and not so much here, but they do run out of the Gulf in spring to live out because they spawn out there. Then they come up river and they go really far up north. They inhabit Pontchartrain. I caught one out of Pontchartrain on Thanksgiving.
Right.
It was a male. It was about maybe 2 feet. The females get longer. They get about 3 feet or maybe more. And in spring, they're really running heavy in the river, and I get them right, on a float or right on the bottom with some cut bait. They like carrying, like rotten flesh or whatever. So, but it's usually like fresh mullet that I'm cutting up, but it works just as fine.
Right.
And you'll find them like out of the current, not so much where the bottom's rocky, but where it's silty or muddy. And they're real active at night. A lot of people, like you said, they don't want to mess with them.
Right.
But to me, they taste just like catfish. It's not like that eel you get in sushi restaurants. Everybody that hears me go, oh, I like to eat eel, they're like, oh, I like it too. I always get that at the Japanese restaurant. I'm like, yeah, me too, but what I'm talking about is more like catfish. It's different taste than eel, different species.
Believe it or not, eels are considered like trash fish here.
Yeah.
Similarly, there was a time when people didn't want redfish.
Really?
Yeah. There was a time people considered redfish trash. I never knew about it. I never considered it trash, but I've read about it. I'm talking back in the 40s, 50s, or something. But they were so plentiful. They were so easy to catch. People wanted speckled trout, drum, but not redfish for some reason.
Not red drum.
When the black and redfish craze came out in the 80s.
Like with that Cajun guy that would go,
Paul Prudhomme.
Yeah.
Right, Paul Prudhomme. Then all of a sudden everybody wanted redfish. But I can recall people not wanting redfish. I said, are you nuts? Are you nuts?
Back in the 50s, they also were like crazy about eradicating alligator gar around here.
Yeah.
In Louisiana and a lot of other places in the South, right?
Yeah.
Like, just like some crazy New Orleans story about some girl getting like dragged into Pontchartrain by an alligator gar.
Probably more
somewhere.
like an alligator. I'm not to dispute your story, but I'm just saying.
No, a lot of people say that, but the doctor that like if you look at the evidence, like when it was recorded, the story was recorded, they blamed an alligator gar, but it was probably something else.
Didn't you say they can get real old ones could be huge?
Yeah, about 12 feet long.
I mean, that's a sizable animal.
Yeah.
Fish. 12 feet.
Oh yeah. I recall once we were in Bayou out of Shell Beach, and I caught a gar. The boat was 15 feet. He had to be 12, 13 feet. He was almost as big as the boat. And I hooked him under his pectoral fin. I didn't even hook him in the mouth. And we had a time trying to get that thing in a boat.
I foul hook those things all the time, like especially at night when I can't see. When I don't have the light on, like Thanksgiving night, I foul hooked one, a spotted gar in City Park, which City Park is full of spotted gar. That's the only gar they say they have in that water in City Park is spotted gar. But in Bayou St. John, at night, right around where that Cabrini, that church school is, because of the lights, you can see real good. At night, they come up and you'll see 6-footers, 8-footers, 10-footers,
really,
long nose and short nose. And in Orleans Canal, and almost all the drainage canals of Metairie and Orleans Parish, there's big gar. But in City Park, they stock that water intentionally with spotted gar because spotted gar are the most predominantly native gar to the south. Though all the bayous probably have more, short-nosed gar than anything.
What's the difference with a spotted gar? Can you tell the difference in the meat?
I've never eaten gar, honestly. I want to try it. spotted gar only get about 3 feet average. I mean, I'm sure you could find them at 4, but commonly it's 3 feet. And they're like a brownish tan color with spots, darker brown spots.
Okay.
There's another gar that gets about the same size. It looks like a spotted gar, but I think the spots are smaller, and it's called a Florida gar. They're only in Florida. Well, they're not in New Orleans or Louisiana.
Okay.
You might find them in the river once in a while. I just haven't heard much of it. And long nose, short nose, and I think they call I heard this morning someone talk about a needle nose gar, and I've never heard that term before. They might be referring to a short nose gar, but they're more
there's something we call a needle nose fish that looks like a little gar.
Yeah.
Now they aggravate.
Like a needlefish or something.
Yeah, we call them needle fish.
They steal your bait all the time.
Yes, they do.
Little fish head right there. But the long nose get really big, like 12, 13, 14 feet. I don't know if you're going to find a lot at 14 right now in certain places. Maybe in Texas or in the Mississippi River.
They caught a 40-pounder here. Right here. But you know what? I haven't seen a garfish here since it started getting cold.
It gets low, I think. Cold weather.
I think so. Matter of fact, there were crab in here during the summer. Nobody crabs here anymore now. But when it gets warm, you'll find this thing has crab and garfish. Matter of fact, when it's warm, you come out here and this big log, people leave their crab lines on the log.
Yeah, I bet this would be a better place to come fish in spring.
I haven't fished it in the spring yet. I'm looking forward to next spring. I didn't start fishing this till the summer.
Well, I about had it picking off weeds off my line. If I was a vegetarian, I'd be making out big time today.
A lot of swampy salad.
Yeah.
A lot of Louisiana swamp.
I wouldn't have to add any salt, I doubt it. It was nice talking to you. Well, we were just about to leave and we got cut off by the train. After I turned the camera off, got into a conversation about how this is actually a pretty decent place for puppy drums, even though it's cold and there wasn't much action today. It's kind of a short train, isn't it, Jim?
Very.
So like we said, this is just a scouting mission, a little teaser. Next episode will be here with Reno, shrimp on a float. We're going to be targeting black drum. And there's Mike. So yeah, Mike, I think I'm going to come out here next Wednesday, make a day of it, see if I can catch some drum or whatnot.
The tide should be running really good.
Yeah, I'll see when that tide's coming in.
And the best fishing, I understand, is when the tide's higher.
Yeah, that's what I like, the high tide.
And as I recall, incoming tide was best next week in the morning, as opposed to the evening.
Yeah.
Incoming tide today is best supposedly in the evening, but you couldn't tell that by looking at the lagoon today. It's still low. This thing doesn't seem to follow any pattern. One thing I wanted to tell you about the water level here.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to follow any patterns. I was starting to think that, contrary to normal seems as though the north wind pushes water into this thing, as opposed to pushing water out.
Hmm.
I'm trying to figure out the pattern as I fish it, but it seems to have its own little way. It's a non-conforming.
All right. This is M. Hood saying, see you next week.